When you think of the very first movie stars, you probably picture someone with golden curls. But what if I told you her real power wasn't on the screen, but in the boardroom? Today, we're diving into the story of how one woman became so much more than a movie star. She became a mogul who literally built the foundations of Hollywood. This is the incredible story of Mary Pickford. To really get a handle on Mary Pickford, you first have to grasp the sheer, unbelievable scale of her fame. It wasn't just big, it was global. It was something the world had never seen before. That quote you see there? It's not an exaggeration. At her peak, Mary Pickford was, without a doubt, the most famous woman on the entire planet. This wasn't just stardom, it was a phenomenon. And this contrast right here, this is the heart of her story. On screen, she was America's sweetheart, right? The innocent, sweet girl with the golden curls. But behind the scenes, she was one of the sharpest, toughest, and most powerful business people in the entire industry. Period. So where did this all begin? Well, it wasn't in Hollywood. It was in Toronto, where she was born Gladys Louise Smith. And acting, it wasn't some glamorous dream. It was a necessity. After her father passed away, she started performing on stage when she was just 7 years old to help support her family. This tough life on the road eventually led her to the new world of motion pictures and a director named D.W. Griffith. Okay, get ready for this number. In 1909 alone, her very first year making movies, Mary Pickford appeared in 51 films. 51! That's almost one new movie every single week. The pace was absolutely relentless, but it was here that she mastered the art of film acting. And more importantly, it's where the audience fell completely in love with her. Now, here's the wild part. In these early short films, actors didn't get any credit. Their names never ever appeared on screen. So, how did audiences even know who they were watching? Well, they just made up their own names for her. Theaters would put signs out front saying a new film starred the Biograph girl or the girl with the golden curls. Think about that. She was a massive star before the public even knew her name. And that anonymous fame, that became her greatest weapon. As her popularity exploded, Pickford started to realize her own value, and she began making demands that no one in the business had ever dared to make before. She wasn't going to be just an actress for hire anymore. She was taking control. On screen, she perfected this character type, the ingenue. The virtuous but always feisty and resilient young girl. Her roles in movies like Tess of the Storm Country and the smash hit Pollyanna created that whole America's sweetheart persona. She knew exactly what audiences wanted, and it became a brand that she carefully cultivated and completely controlled. Just look at this timeline. The growth is astronomical. In just 7 years, she went from $40 a week to being the first actress in history to sign $1 million contract. But, and this is the really crucial part, it wasn't just about the money. It was about the power. That contract gave her full creative authority over her films, from the script all the way to the final cut. But you know what? Even that wasn't enough. See, in early Hollywood, the big studios were all powerful. They produced the movies, they owned the distribution networks, and they owned the theaters. They controlled everything, from top to bottom, which left the actual artists, the stars, with very little real power. So, in 1919, Pickford did something absolutely radical. She, along with Charlie Chaplin, her soon-to-be husband Douglas Fairbanks, and the director D.W. Griffith, formed their own company, United Artists. This was a total declaration of independence. For the first time, the artists were in charge. They were producing their own films and distributing them on their own terms. It completely upended the power structure of Hollywood. After more than a decade of just unparalleled success, Pickford and the entire silent film world faced its biggest challenge yet, the arrival of sound. The talkies, as they were called, threw Hollywood into a complete panic, and a lot of careers were destroyed, overnight. For a star whose entire fame was built on silent performance, this was a terrifying moment. This famous quote just sums up how she felt perfectly. Like a lot of silent stars, Pickford felt that sound would just ruin the artistry of cinema. She saw it as this clumsy gimmick that would destroy the universal language of silent film. But, ever the pragmatist, she knew she had a choice: adapt or disappear. And boy, did she adapt. For her first talking picture, Coquette, she didn't just add her voice. She completely shed her little girl persona. She cut off her world-famous curls and got a modern, stylish bob. This was front-page news. And while the movie was a big hit and even won her an Academy Award, for a lot of her fans, America's sweetheart was gone forever. Pickford retired from acting in 1933, but her work was far from over. In fact, you could say this is where the second act of her legacy really begins, as her influence shifted from being in front of the camera to shaping the very foundations of the industry she helped create. Her legacy is so much bigger than just her own studio. She co-founded the Motion Picture Relief Fund, which helps industry members who fallen on hard times. And get this, she was one of the original 36 founders of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Yep, the very same academy that gives out the Oscars. She didn't just star in Hollywood, she was one of its chief architects. So what is her defining legacy in the end? Is it the beloved America's sweetheart who defined what it meant to be a movie star? Or is it the savvy mogul who took on the entire studio system and won? The truth is, one couldn't exist without the other. She mastered the image to gain the power, and by doing so, she became the woman who didn't just conquer Hollywood, she built it. Thanks for tuning in.